also like we're very lucky, Kanchi and I, because we're new and this is an option for us, like in the 90s or early 2000s, even during the time of a refugee or a Kahona Pyar Hai or Savaria or even Mirzaya, actually, when these films came out, there was no like platforms. It was just you're this one, you're so and so, this is your so and so, this has to be your recovery, your satellite is gone for this much, this is your budget. It was all like a equation.
I know.
And the filmmakers were kind of forced to really simplify their stories. The more expensive their films were, the more simple the narration and the way that you made the film had to be.
What's mainstream, what's not. I mean, today, not naming anyone or anything specifically, but which mainstream debut with dance and music has worked or not. You know what I mean? It really doesn't matter.
I know. Yeah. Hello everyone, welcome to PeepingMoon.com. I'm Rashita Sahani, and today joining me is a cast that deserves the spotlight now and every day. Welcoming Varrdhan Kapoor and Akansha Ranjan Kapoor for their Netflix anthology Race Film Spotlight. Hi Harsh, hi Akansha, how have you two been?
Great.
Hi.
Okay. So firstly, tell me, of course, the film's based on Mr. Satyajit Ray's work. Did you take any inspiration or insight from the original piece?
So certain letters, he didn't, I think even for Harsh, he told us, because even in previous interviews, he did mention like awe and reverence is one thing, but I think every artist needs to kind of figure their own way without the pressure of like having to, because I don't think we can obviously match up or compete with that. So I think it's easier and less pressure if we just bring to the table what we know, what we interpret from it, as against trying to mimic or, match up to some sort of level.
Okay, agreed. Harsh?
Yeah, no, I think also, it's important to kind of remember that these are films that are inspired by short stories of Satyajit Ray. They are not remakes of Satyajit Ray's films, or they're not they're inspirations, right? So the idea is you kind of take the story and you try and put your own stamp on it, and that's what these directors have done. At least Vasan's definitely done that, where he's just kind of taken inspiration from the story and very much put his own stamp on it and made it his own, which is something I'm sure that the great Satyajit Ray would have wanted as well, is for filmmakers to kind of be able to kind of take inspiration from him, but very much make their own films and share their own kind of voice with the viewers.
Yeah, I think it's
we didn't. Sorry, Kanchi.
Yeah, I just feel like for any kind of artist, it's just a lot of pressure when you're doing something that a great has written, etc., to just kind of want to try to match up to it, because that's just not the way to go about anything.
Okay. Completely agreed. Yeah. And I was just before you, I was talking to the cast of Forget Me Not, and they said that people are quite sensitive when it comes to work of Mr. Satyajit Ray. We all know about that. So as you correctly mentioned, Akansha, that you tried to not take any pressure and tried to not match up to any level. But was there, despite that, any sense of pressure on your shoulders? Because of course, it's a big thing. It's a big name.
So I personally, as a human being, don't like to take that kind of pressure. I like to just be in the moment. And also Vasan sir made that very easy. He never, said ki hum Satyajit Ray ka, ye karne hai, so we need to do this, we need to do that. We were reading a script that we got, and we were interpreting it as actors the way we thought fit best. And we enacted that on set the way we thought best at the time. So I think we really went with our own gut, our own spirit, our atmosphere that we had created on set. And we tried not to, and even Vasan sir made an environment as such that there was no pressure per se. I don't think at any point we were like, okay, because I think that would actually hamper the process, where we are like, okay, are we doing this right? Are we trying matching up to some level? But of course, now that once the trailer's out and everyone's like, they better match up to what's, so that is now the pressure is on. So, hopefully we've done the best we could in our capacity, I guess.
I'm sure. And in fact, I watched the film and I loved it. So I'm sure the audience will love it too.
Thank God.
Okay. Harsh, what about you?
Yeah, no, I think also when people like you kind of see the film, they'll just kind of go with the experience of it, you know.
Right.
And the thing is also the great thing about Vasan sir is that he's not very self-serious. You know, it's
Mm.
not like, oh, like we're making like a Satyajit Ray kind of adapt, like a inspired by his short, and it's got to be. We're just having a lot of fun, you know. And I think
Yeah.
we're basically in a time where things are so stressful. We live in such a difficult environment that I think that this film is coming at the right times for people to just kind of like have a good laugh, you know, and
Yeah.
at the same time also it kind of tells you a lot about, makes a lot of kind of comments on society and celebrity culture and religion and all of those things, but without being too heavy-handed. You know, which I think in a more mainstream way, Rajkumar Hirani is a master at. You know, he always kind of makes
Yeah.
great points about society and stuff, but while entertaining the audience so much. And I think Vasan sir kind of does that too in just in a kind of more quirky kind of you know way. So it's great to kind of be a part of you know, somebody that's has such a great control over his craft and also wants to entertain the audience every chance he gets. You know, so.
Agreed. And Akansha, of course, we saw you in Guilty, Netflix film, and now in Ray. So you tell me, there are actors who initially in their career, what we have seen in the past is that they want to do more of mainstream cinema first, and then of course anthologies or short films, those come in. So what was your idea behind picking this up?
No idea. I don't plan and plot, and I just go with the flow. What feels instinctively right is what I do, and I genuinely believe that. I think the lines are very blurred now between what's mainstream, what's
Yeah.
not. I mean, today, not naming anyone or anything specifically, but which mainstream debut with dance and music has worked or not. You know what I mean? It really doesn't matter
I know,
anymore.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's no right or wrong way, method. There's no match to it anymore. You just do what you feel is right. This whole project was a no-brainer for me, and I went with it. And so was Guilty. Like, I remember a lot of the interviews back then were like, "You've picked this as your debut, and girls don't pick these films for their debuts." And I'm like,
Yeah.
does it really matter anymore? I don't know. Like, looking in retrospect, I think it was the best decision of my life. So yeah, I don't think, and it's a great time for actors when these calculations don't matter anymore. You just do good stuff, make good content, do the right thing, and yeah, it just works.
Yeah, I completely agreed. I think a few years ago, it did matter a lot. People did expect, a certain actor to make a certain kind of debut, but I think Guilty worked great for you.
Yeah.
And I think actors like you are going to, bring in these changes. So, yeah. And Harsh, of course, you play an actor in the film. Was it easy for you, or did it have its own set of challenges to play this role?
I think that no performance is easy. I think that
Okay.
everything is really hard, actually. I find it very difficult, and I think we all kind of battle a lot of insecurity, like in a way where even in, when somebody kind of gives you this huge responsibility, you are going to kind of, I do at least put a lot of pressure on myself to try and do the best that I can within my kind of limitations. And I think that the only way to do it is to work like really hard. And it's a really boring answer, but that's what you got to do, man. You got to really, especially in this film, it's like, you guys have seen a 62-minute version. We actually had a 75-minute version, which is a feature film. So it was a feature film that we basically shot in 10 days in more or less one location. And I was in every frame. I was in every shot of this film. And there's a lot of kind of variation that this character goes through. He starts off insecure, a little bit on edge, and then he almost has moments of lightness, but then descends completely. So there's a lot, so I just kind of went scene by scene. I worked with my acting coaches. I worked with Vasan a lot. And this is very different from the kind of stuff that I've done in the past. And I think his guidance was really important. And yeah, I hope what I've kind of managed to do, is effective and people like it. And that's all we can really hope for, is to kind of put our best foot forward and hope that people like it. And it's often it's a combination of several things. It's a combination of your preparation, your understanding of the material, and what you feel instinctively about things, what you end up doing in the moment. There's a whole team there to help you kind of make sure your performance is convincing in terms of the way that it's shot, edited, lit, we kind of, with Abhilasha, who's the costume designer, I designed a look with her for my character. And so all of these small pieces come together, but honestly, it's a director's medium, and you can be very, very good, but come across as not very effective in a film if the narrative and the storytelling is all over the place. And you can kind of be, not great, but come across as fantastic if the director is really good and knows what he's doing, So I think if people like me in this film, it's all the credit really goes to Vasan and the team, honestly, I think.
Okay, that's great. And how was it actually shooting with Vasan? Because we have seen his work before. It's incredible. This one also, of course, I watched it. Is he an actor's director?
Kanchi, you wanna?
Yeah. So he's been in my wish list, right? I didn't know who he was. I just knew I wanted to work with him. I'd never met him personally ever. And I'd heard of him, and of course I'd seen his films. And I was like, I have to work with this director. He's on my wish list. Cut to, I did this narration on Zoom because it was the peak of lockdown at the time, and we had a very serious chat. And I said, yes, no, definitely not. Cut to, I arrive on set, and it's this mad place with crazy, everyone's retarded, going mad, laughing, and I'm like, oh, and then I'm like, okay, maybe it's just the atmosphere. Cut to, I go for my scene, and I'm like, oh, sir is the most, I don't know what's the right word to use. Help me out here. Just, I don't know, like, so my first...
He's like a cuddly, like you want to just cuddle him.
Okay.
He's a trip. So when Guilty, we prep every dialogue for 2 months in advance. We had we knew it like this. Like I can still give my monologues because we get prepped so much. In this, our preparation was to unprep 500 times. Anytime we thought we got something, it was cut off and we added something new. So it's very interesting. His process is very different from what I've done before. He's fun, he's easy, he's definitely an actor's director because I'm someone who can't, I need to be told exactly what to be done. So fully guides you, tells you exactly, like you're so prepared by being unprepared. I don't know if that makes sense. That when he says action, you're on your own, you're doing it. Do I make sense or do I sound mad?
Yeah, and no, you completely make sense.
I think it's interesting because like what Kanchi said is you have to be extremely prepared to then have him take away that preparation really. I would be too insecure as an actor to show up on a Vasan Bala set not prepared because then the thing is a lot is improvised, like a lot that you see in the film, a lot of the scenes between me and Chandan actually I think are max improvisation. A lot of them made the cut, a lot of them got edited out of the film due to length. I think actually Kanchi's scene with me, we did a little bit of improv, but a lot of it was the script.
Most improv, the dialogues were changed with every cut.
Maybe I was too into it and I don't remember. Maybe Kanchi probably was better because that was like a key scene first scene that she did. But I that's what I'm saying. Maybe she came in about 3 or 4 days into the 10 or 11 day shoot. So we had become so used to basically just taking orders on demand. Like I remember doing a scene with Radhika and we're about to shoot and he's sitting there like writing the scene right there, and the thing is if you're not secure and you don't trust your director and you don't have confidence in your ability, like an actor can completely just panic, but he's so brilliant. Like I don't think there are too many directors in a country that could pull off something like this, he has a really, really great understanding of tone and he balances moments of quirkiness with moments of real emotion. And, it happens so seamlessly that it doesn't feel jarring or out of place. But yeah, I prepared a lot. I prepared for like 2.5 months. We were locked down, like Kanchi said, it was the peak of lockdown. And, you got the script. And for me, I had so much material to kind of dive into that I really used it as an outlet for my energy. And when I went there, I just was completely like, a tool for Vasan to use to do whatever really he kind of wanted. And he takes all of your ideas on board, he's very, very open. And yeah, I think it's true independent filmmaking. You go there with a small budget, you go there with a small crew. Everybody loves the film as much as the actors do or the directors do. It's not like he's the star and she's the, the heroine. It's like we're all a team and we're trying to make a film that we all equally feel passionate about. And you just kind of hope to kind of do your best, but it's a lot of fun, and it's the most fun I've done. Mirzya, Bhavesh, Joshi, AK versus AK. Spotlight is the most fun that I've had, and I hope to have as much fun in my future experiences also.
Okay, Great. And Satyajit Ray was actually the first Indian to receive an Oscar. And now we are seeing so many web shows and web films getting international acclaim. Like one just won an Emmy Award. So do you also feel that, Ray also has the power to get international acclaim?
So we've all not seen the other three. So, but I'm sure with the star cast and the filmmakers and the writer, the original writer, it's only fair.
Yeah, and I also hope, I hope that, I mean, it all depends on now it's in the audience's hand. We've kind of done our bit, and we're sitting here talking to you, and I kind of try and be as objective about my work as possible. I really enjoy the film. Like, honestly, even if I was not an actor in the film, and I know that's difficult to say, and if it was someone else, I think I would have really, really liked the film just for its sheer courage and just how wildly entertaining and kind of bizarre and trippy it is, but it still kind of works as a cohesive piece. And I do think that Spotlight, because that's the only one I've seen, can speak to a world audience. And I think that's kind of been my template when I started my career, is to always take Indian stories, be it Mirza Sahiba or, which is kind of like a love story like Romeo and Juliet, but very Indian, but kind of tell it in a more world way so it can reach out to the world. Or Bhavesh Joshi is like a young man's action film, but Vikram's kind of hand on it is so like European and very world, as opposed to like a very desi film. And AK versus AK is kind of a meta film that anybody in the world can enjoy. And I think Spotlight very much is within that kind of, realm of very extremely Indian stories, but told in a way where all of Netflix's subscribers, hopefully all over the world, can see it and not kind of be jarred by its tone and telling. So I hope that it gets pushed, and I do hope that the attention happens, because I honestly think that everybody associated with all the films deserves it. Like Kanchi said, there's some fantastic actors, directors, technicians, and I think Netflix has really assembled a fantastic unit of talent for this one.
Yeah, I'm sure it fits in well. So of course we can just hope for the best. So lastly, of course, I would want to ask, the web platform right now is at its all-time high. There are so many new people who are introduced, new talent. It's giving better, bigger opportunities to actors. Do you think that talented actors are now finally getting their due through the web platform, also considering cinema is shut for a very long time now?
100%. I think there's just more place for room for everyone on the table now, and that's what's exciting. Also because people are not being cast because of their popularity, or how much footfall they can bring to the theater. So you're cast because you fit the role. Period. That's all it takes, right?
Yeah.
So so it's a great time for writers and directors, because even the creative freedom that you get. So, and actors, of course, because there's also no more main actor and then his 5 people in a film anymore. These stories are so collaborative. Everybody, they're all ensemble casts, and that's the beauty of shows and movies that are on OTT. Yeah. So I think it's a fabulous time for actors, especially because of these mediums. 100%.
I'm sure. Yeah. Harsh?
Yeah, I think like Kanchi said, it's a great time. And I think also, like, we're very lucky, Kanchi and I, because we're new, and this is an option for us, like in the 90s or early 2000s, even during the time of a Refugee or a Kahona Pyar Hai or Savaria or even Mirzaya, actually, when these films came out, there was no like platforms. It was just, you're this one, you're so-and-so, this is your so-and-so, this has to be your recovery, your satellite has gone for this much, this is your budget. It was all like a equation.
I know.
And the filmmakers were kind of forced to really simplify their stories. The more expensive their films were, the more simple the narration and the way that you made the film had to be. I think that also affected actors, like in performances. Like, we're a very verbose, and if you put on the television and you see like just television shows and serials, and the performances are kind of pitched up a little bit, that's because that's what we're used to. If you go into homes, Indian homes, and you interact with people, that's the way that we communicate. There's a little less subtlety and nuance, but I think with the platforms, because you're speaking to such a wide base, which is not just within India and which is a different part of India, the filmmakers are allowed to kind of be more nuanced with their approach, be more progressive with their films, and us then in turn as actors are also are able to kind of put in different kinds of performances. So I think it's a great time to be an actor, and it's also great to see veterans that are getting their due now after having persevered and struggled for so many years, despite being such fantastic actors. I mean, I think, somebody like Manoj sir is at the peak of his career now, rightly so. He's such a genius with his craft. And even when Sacred Games came out, Saif and Nawaz and stuff, they're so brilliant. And everything happens for a reason. My father's always told me to just kind of keep persevering and believing in the kinds of movies you want to do and being honest with your approach. And then somewhere it will kind of come full circle. So I think to have this this platform is great. And I think just to conclude that it's going to actually push the cinematic output to a higher level, because competition is always healthy. And audiences have seen things now, and they're going to be more difficult to please, which is good, because we're going to be able to experiment more. And that's great. It's I think it's fantastic all around, really.
Agreed completely. Okay, thank you so much, Akansha and Harsh, for joining in. It was a pleasure chatting with you. All the very best for Spotlight.
Yeah.
Thank
you so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye.